Welcome to a special edition of Commodore Catch with Varun Raghupathi. I'm David Lauterbach. Falmouth hosting Brewster tonight for the final time in the regular season. Alex Young back on the mound for his fourth start. What are you expecting out of the lefty from Texas Christian?
Well, arguably the hardest thrower in Falmouth's rotation. Can touch 91, 92 with the fastball, someone that scouts are dying to see. There's a lot here for a 4:30 start time. They really want to see the lefty out of Texas Christian, but the defense behind him has also been good as well. That's part of the reason Young has been so successful. It's been a different story with Casey Mulholland. For some reason, they just play better defense behind Alex Young. Look for that to continue against Brewster tonight.
Before I ask this question, knock on wood wherever you can find it, Young hasn't walked a batter in 13 innings. What's the big reason behind that? He's been so consistent. Gave up one run in his last start. It was unearned in Falmouth's 5-3 win over Wareham, but he's just consistent. Why do you think that is?
He's so good at pitching inside. Normally when guys try to do that in this league, they end up hitting the guy or they end up missing on the inside corner. With Young, he finds the right spot. The umpires give him the calls, and he just goes back to it. He's not afraid to use the fastball, the changeup, the slider, everything near the batter. So every time he comes with that pitch, a batter either gets jammed or he doesn't swing at all, and it's strike three looking.
Last night, speaking of hit batters, Falmouth hit two batters in the 8th inning. That was Kevin Mooney. The Braves scored 7 runs in the top of the 8th to beat Falmouth 9-4 at home, clinching the first spot in the playoff race. How do you think Falmouth responds from that? It's such a brutal loss at home at 9-4.
Yeah, and so many runs coming in the 8th inning, 7 to be exact. It was something we saw against Falmouth earlier in the year, where teams like YD and Chatham would put up crooked numbers in the middle of the game, and then Bourne comes back after Falmouth took a 4-2 lead, no less, and just cuts their hearts out. So definitely a tough game to bounce back from, but playing a Brewster team that they put up a huge number of runs on, 15, the most this year, so I expect them to bounce back behind Alex Young today.
One of those players that was so dominant a week and a half ago when Falmouth traveled to Brewster and won 15-11 was Matt Eureste. Our field reporter Alexa Galloway caught up with him to talk about him being named the Coca-Cola Player of the Week.
Matt, you're hitting consistently, Cape League All-Star, and now Coca-Cola Player of the Week. What's next?
I'm just trying to go out and have a good time at the All-Star game and enjoy the experience.
Now it's game 36 tonight. You haven't had an off day in a while. How do you keep that stamina and keep performing well out there?
You just got to stay healthy and stretch a lot and keep your body as fresh as it can be.
Now heading down the stretch, what is your role with the Commodores?
Heading down the stretch, probably just staying consistent and getting on base as much as I can.
All right, thank you, Matt. Back to you guys.
Thanks so much, Alexa. Matt Eureste talking a lot about how he does well, but the whole team has done pretty well, although right now they're 2-2 on the 5-game homestand. Final game is tonight. How do they bounce back after such a brutal loss, let's say on the hitting side of the ball, where they did pretty well getting 4 runs across the dish?
And then 15 against Brewster the last time these two teams met. I say it's all about just hitting early. That's what they did against the Braves before last game. And if Falmouth can get back to that, scoring runs in the first, second, and third, it gives them confidence. When you put up a 3 spot in the 8th, and it just seems like nothing, which is what the Commodores did against the Whitecaps and other teams like the Bourne Braves at Dorn Park earlier in the year. So Falmouth can get back to hitting early and hitting through the lineup. This team should be fine. It's a very, very complete offense. And again, Alex Young is going tonight, maybe the best pitcher in this rotation, so no worries there on the mound.
So would you say hitting early on is arguably the key to the game tonight for Falmouth?
I would say if Falmouth can jump out to the early lead, innings 1, 2, and 3 are the biggest, and then 4, which is where Falmouth really dominates, scored 31 runs this year in that frame, which is the most of any inning for Falmouth. So if the Commodores can jump out in the early part of the contest, they should be fine. However, Brewster's a team with a good number of hitters and all-stars, guys like Travis Maces and Gio Brusa. So if Falmouth can remedy those hitters behind Alex Young and then come up to the plate, do have a nice offensive night at Guff Fuller Field, should be another win for the Commodores.
The Doors have just 9 games left in the 2014 regular season. Alexa Galloway also spoke with Coach Trundy about how Falmouth can succeed down the stretch.
I'm Alexa Galloway here with Coach Trundy. Coach, last night the game did not go the Commodores' way. What needs to change for tonight's game?
Well, today's a new day. That's the great thing about baseball. You know, a lot of times you don't have to wait too long to play, and certainly that's the case in this league where, for the most part, you play every single day. So, you know, last night was tough. I mean, we had a bad inning at a bad time, and, you know, really kind of, you know, obviously led to the outcome that we had. But, you know, the sun came up today, and today's a new day.
Alex Young's on the mound tonight. What are you expecting from him?
Well, hopefully the same thing he's been doing. You know, certainly he's been outstanding. He's been very consistent. And if anything, to be honest, I think over the course of the summer, I think each outing has been a little bit more solid. You know, each one has been very, very good, but I think each one has shown improvement, you know, with his command and his effectiveness. So hopefully that trend continues.
Now, looking down the stretch, what strengths are you seeing from this team?
Well, I really like the fact that we compete. I feel that this team never is really out of a game, and I think a lot of that is a tribute to their makeup and their character. And I think they feel that way. I think they've proven that to themselves, and they're a team that I think can surprise you at any given time. All of a sudden you think maybe they're a little bit down and out, and they pick themselves up off the mat, and they're back in a baseball game. So that's pretty refreshing. And I think the other thing that's great about this group is I think we have a lot of baseball players, and I mean that as a compliment. They're kids that aren't just possessing talent. I think they respect the game and they understand the game and know what they have to do as a teammate in order for us to succeed. So that's been very, very enjoyable to be around.
Now, on the flip side, do you see any weaknesses that need to be worked on going forward?
I don't think there's any but obviously we're going to have moments where we don't play well as an individual and as a team. But again, that's the nature of the game. So I think it highlights the things that we need to work on. And I think if you're an athlete that's a competitor, the way these guys are, you embrace those things. You look at those as an opportunity to learn and an opportunity to address the things that's going to make you a better player. So, it's going to happen. It's all part of it. The best in the world make mistakes. It's a game of failure. And, like I said, embrace that because it's telling you what you need to work on as a player the next day.
Well, thanks, Coach. Back to you guys.
Alexa talked with Coach Trundy about how the team can be resilient when they want to be. A big reason why is they have a couple starting pitchers that have been so dominant this year. One of them, Kevin McCanna. Why do you think that? Why do you think Trundy had to say that this team can bounce back or get through tough spots when they're facing teams like Brewster or even Katuitt?
Well, to go back to an example of the team being resilient, Falmouth was down 4-1 to Orleans a few days back at Guff Fuller Field, scored 5 runs in the bottom of the 8th inning, ended up winning the game 6-5 here at home. So that's an Orleans team that may be considered the best in the CCBL, certainly up there, and certainly contending for a title this year. If Falmouth can get back to that, then things should be good. That's what Coach Trundy's going off of. Now, Bourne did the exact opposite of that against Falmouth, kind of turning the table, so to speak. So it can happen to anybody on a given day. It is baseball, after all. One slip-up should not define the entire season, especially the last part of it, where Falmouth has been one of the strongest teams in the league.
It's important to think about that one slip-up. Kevin McCanna had one of those a couple weeks ago when he gave up 7 earned runs, but just a couple days back, through 7 shutout innings, Alexa Galloway caught up with him to talk about how he was named Coca-Cola Pitcher of the Week.
Thanks, David. I'm here with Kevin McCanna. Kevin, you were named Coca-Cola Pitcher of the Week. What does that mean to you?
I'm very excited. I'm glad to be the Coca-Cola Pitcher of the Week. I've been working hard and just trying to do my thing and throw strikes, and I'm very excited.
Now, what do you think your role is heading down the stretch?
It's a good question. I think just kind of keep throwing. I'm not sure what coach's plans are for the rotation, but whatever it may be, I'll be ready.
Now, looking at the matchup against Brewster tonight, what does Falmouth need to do to get the win?
Just have good at-bats. Alex needs to throw strikes, do what he does. He's had a great summer so far, and I think if he does that and our guys just come out ready to play, we'll be fine. So.
Well, thanks, Kevin. Back to you guys.
Thanks so much, Alexa. Varun, if you had to look back before looking forward, who would you say is the pitcher or player of the last couple weeks for Falmouth?
It has to be Kevin Newman, not only with the bat and the glove, but also with his leadership abilities at shortstop. He's always on the mound, talking to the pitchers, helping them out, flashing shines, really is the captain of this team. Not a role you really see in summer league ball when a lot of guys are just here to play for the scouts, but Newman, a true leader and a guy to rally around, especially because he leads by example, doing so well up in the top in terms of batting average for the 2nd straight year.
I'll go with Kevin Newman for the same reasons as you said, along with Steven Duggar, so kind of co-players of the last week and change. Duggar's just been tremendous on the base pass and in the outfield. He has 5 assists this year. He's just been so dominant. But anyway, for Varun, I'm David. Falmouth facing Brewster tonight here at 4:30. That's the first pitch, but pregame starts at 4:15 on Ustream, so pick up a chair and stay around for a while.